Hello, welcome to the channel. This video is about present perfect tense. Let's get started. This video is especially given to my dearest grandpa. Hope he'll like it. The first video of this chapter is about present perfect tense and present perfect continuous tense. This is a new chapter and we are going to cover two main areas in this chapter. Let's take a look. Tenses. Present perfect tense is a kind of colorette. And in this chapter, we are going to talk about simple present perfect as well as present perfect continuous. And there will be a sample essay that we will come across. What is present perfect? Present perfect is a tense talking about something happened in the past. And it will look like this. We have visited 5 countries already. Have you ever been here? This is a question. I haven't been to British Museum yet. And present perfect continuous will be looking like this. We have been traveling for only 7 days. Let's take a look at the sample essay. Hi Sonny, how's the things back home in Hong Kong? Hot and sweaty? I hope. Okay, so you can see there are many different present perfect tense here. So, have you ever been? We've been traveling. Present perfect continuous. We have visited. It's been. I've done. I've seen. I've ridden. I've been. I've returned. I haven't been. I haven't bought. I've been sightseeing. I haven't had. I've been sharing. We've been staying. I've been. Last video, we talked about and introduced 2 areas that we gonna cover. The present perfect tense as well as present perfect continuous. Today, we talk more about present perfect tense. Let's take a look how many areas we gonna to cover. The first area, how do I form statements and questions in present perfect tense? Second, useful grammar term. And the third one, yes or no question in the present perfect tense. And question with question words in present perfect tense. Okay, let's take a look how to form statements by using present perfect tense. Let's take a look. We form positive and negative statements in present perfect tense like this. First, the color blue. I, we, you, they. We have positive present perfect tense with have plus a past participle. Now, past participle could be either regular verb, for example, and with ed. So, visit will become visit. For irregular verb, it's am, are, was, were, been. Like this. We will use been. Positive, we use have. For negative, we use have not. So the sentence will be looking like this. I have visited 5 countries. And for another color blue, he, she, it, we will use has or has not for negative. And again, for irregular verb, seen and found will be used. He has seen 5 countries. She has not found the phone. So you have already noticed that two different types of verbs, regular and irregular verbs. So, what's the change that we have to make while you are using present perfect tense? Let's take a look. With regular verbs, past participles is always the same as the simple past form. For irregular verbs, it is often different. So for example, go and gone. The word gone will be different from the original verb go. And for the verb to be, the past participle will be been. Irregular past form, we need to learn irregular past participles by heart. We have to remember that. There's no simple rules to tell you how they make the change. And for regular verbs, we always end them in ed. For example, traveled and visit. So, irregular verbs are more varied than regular verbs. And there are some examples that we could remember. Let's take a look. Past participle actually is the third line and third form of a verb. Travel, traveled, and traveled. Do, the original form, did, and the past participle, done. Go, the original form, past tense, went, and past participle, gone. Some verb, the past tense and past participle will be the same even if it is irregular, not ended with ed. For example, bring, brought, and brought. And some verb, the original form, the past tense form, as well as the past participle, they will be the same. Cut, cut, cut. Put, put, put. Then how about forming questions while using present perfect? Let's take a look. Forming yes or no questions in present perfect tense. The only thing that one could do is to change the positions of the subjects and the has or have. For example, I have the news become have you heard the news? Or has he or she or it gone home? Yes, she has. No, she has not. How about asking questions with other question words? Let's take a look. We ask questions with question words in present perfect tense like this. Question word how? How many countries have you been to? 43. Which countries has she or has he or has it visited? Just Japan and Thailand. So you could see that for IVU day, we still stick to have. For he, she, or it, we have has. But past participle will follow the subject, visit, and been. Last two videos, we talk about what is present perfect tense. Today, we talk about how to use it and what time should we use it. Let's take a look at the following areas that we're gonna cover today. First, we will cover a little bit about using of simple past tense, present perfect tense, and situations that we should use present perfect tense. Action that began in the past but still happen now. Action that were completed a short time ago. Past action that have a result in the present. Experiences as well as news. And something we have to be cautious. To understand what time we should use present perfect tense, We also have to understand what time we should use simple past tense. By comparing these two sentences, you will have a more clear idea about which situation we have to use present perfect. Let's take a look. When should I use the present perfect tense? Simple past tense, what time should we use it? We use simple past tense to talk about finished actions and events in the past. And we often know exactly what time these actions or events took place. Time. The understanding about the finish of the time is important. Example, I visit the Hong Kong Museum Plus. What time? 2 days ago. You went to Paris. What time? When you were in secondary 3. Then what time should we use present perfect? Let's take a look. We use present perfect tense to talk about actions and events that took place or started sometimes in the past. It is still important now in some ways. So, what is the first situation that we could apply present perfect? Let's take a look. Actions that began in the past but still continue now. We've visited 5 countries now already. We've visited 5 countries already. We still keep visiting other countries. I haven't had a full night's sleep since we left Hong Kong. I'm still losing sleep right now. Also, action that had happened a short time ago could also be considered using present perfect. Let's take a look. Actions that were completed a short time ago. We have to add the word just in the sentence. This effort just is important. I have just returned to the hotel. This action completed a short time ago. Also, action we finished in the past, but it still affects something happened today. We also consider to use present perfect. Let's take a look. Past actions that have a result in the present time. I've lost my phone. These actions finish in the past. However, there is an effect that affecting you now. I can't receive the text messages. Other than that, we could use present perfect to talk about experiences. Let's take a look. Things that have or have not happened to us, or things we have or have not done, and sometimes in our lives, or it is not important what time we did them, then we could consider to use present perfect. For example, I've seen the Colosseum, or have you ever been to London? Other than experiences, we could also use present perfect to talk about news. Let's take a look. We use the present perfect tense to report news. However, we use simple past tense to give further information. Example, earthquake. We use present perfect. There have been a big earthquake. And we use simple past to give details. It hit central Osaka late last night. Have you heard of it? Jane has had a baby. Has had. This news is using present perfect. However, the details went really well. However, the details will use simple past tense. There are something we have to be careful when we are using present perfect tense. Let's take a look what is it. We never use specific time expressions like yesterday, last week, 2 days ago, or even an adverbial clause when I was a child. With present perfect tense, instead we use past tense. For example, I went to London. What time? 2 years ago. 2 years ago is a very specific time, so we have to use past tense. However, while we are using some expressions that is less specific, we consider to use present perfect? Let's take a look. Ever, never, once, many times, several times, before, so far, already, yet. All these less specific time expressions could be considered to use present perfect tense. That is a verb that we have to be cautious about the word go. Let's take a look. People use the verb go to talk about traveling. We went to Paris when she was in secondary 4. This is using a very specific time expressions. So here is the case. We use past tense. Now to talk about a complete traveling experience, we won't use the verb go. Instead, that is another verb we will consider. People talk about a complete travel experience. We use the past participle gone. We don't. Instead, we use been. He's been to London. That means he went to London and then he came home again. A complete experience. However, if you say he has gone to London, which means he is now in London. Okay, provide subjects locations. The last 3 videos is talking about what time we use present perfect tense, what is present perfect tense, as well as the introductory program. This video is about some adverb that we could use while we are using present perfect tense. Let's take a look. The color green, for, and sin. In the present perfect, people use the prepositions for and since to talk about past events and actions that are still continuing now. For more precise, these prepositions are working together with a color blue to form an adverb. Like this. Now for the prepositions for, we are talking about how long an action has been going on. Example, we have been in Ireland. How long? For 2 nights. For 2 nights using prepositions plus a color blue, 2 nights, to form a prepositional phrase, telling you the duration of have been. Then how about the other prepositions since? Let's take a look. We use since to say when the action started. For example, we have been in Ireland. Starting from which point of time? Since. Since what? Since the day before yesterday. So since is a preposition and follow with a color blue to tell you which point of time the action started. And also, I haven't had a full night's sleep. What time? Since we left Hong Kong. And this one is another prepositions plus a noun clause, a color blue. So it's still a prepositional phrase telling you more about the time that we start the action. So for short, we use for, prepositions for, plus the length of time to talk about duration. How long? 2 days, for 2 days, for 20 minutes, for a month. We use since to tell a point of time. Since yesterday, since last year, since I was a child, like this. Then, another adverb. There are 4 adverbs that we use a lot while we are using present perfect. And what time should we use them? Let's take a look. Already, yet, just, ever. The following color green of time are often used with the present perfect tense. For example, already. What time should we use this adverb? What time should we use this color green? We use it in a positive statements, which means there will be no NOT to stress that something had happened earlier than expected. Is Sally still in Paris? No, she has already left. She has gone earlier than we expect. Do your homework. Hey, I've already done it. Okay, I finished earlier than you expect. Then how about the other color green? Yet. Let's take a look. The color green yet is used in negative statements. Any sentence included the word not. Now, remember the word yet never been used in positive statements. We use the word yet to talk about something that has not happened up till now and will probably happen later. For example, Shelley hasn't been to British Museum yet. She's going tomorrow. Hasn't been yet up till now. This action haven't even finished. We also use yet in questions to ask if something has happened before now. Example: has she bought a present for Sonny yet? No, she hasn't. She will do that tomorrow as well. Then another adverb, just. What time shall we use it? Let's take a look. Just is used to say that something happened very recently. I've just returned to the hotel. This action finished not long ago. Then how about ever? Let's take a look. The word ever, anytime, is used to ask questions about experience. Anytime in the past. Have you ever been to London? Have you been to London at any time in your life? Yes or no? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. I have never been to London. We often use already to show that something had happened sooner than we expected. And we usually put this word at the end of these sentences. Have you left already? I can't believe it. You've finished your homework already. And also, these four adverbs could also put at the other positions of a sentence. Which positions? Let's take a look. All these adverbs, color green, of time can go before the past participle. Past participle been, seen, returned, eaten. I've already been. I haven't yet seen. I've just returned. Have you ever eaten? However, putting the word yet, the adverb yet, at the end of a sentence is more common. Already also often goes at the end of a sentence. I haven't seen him yet. I've been there already. Last couple of weeks, we talked about present perfect tense. What is present perfect tense, what time we use it, and how to form statements. Today, we talk about a tense that's closely related to present perfect. That is present perfect continuous. Let's take a look. What is present perfect continuous? Present perfect continuous tense. You can see a sentence having have plus a been, a past participle of verb to be, and an ing form, the present participle. So how do people form statements and question in present perfect continuous tense? Now, we form positive and negative statements. Positive, a sentence without NOT. Negative, a sentence with NOT. So, example, the subject, I, we, you, they. The verb, have, or negative statement, have not or haven't. Plus be, a been is the past participle of verb to be. Get been or is was word or been. Plus present participle, visiting, living. Example, I have been visiting here for a long time. You have not been living in Hong Kong. Now, for the other subjects, he, she, it, these pronouns will use and other kinds of verb has or for has not negative. And the second part and the third part will be similar. The second part the past participle of verb to be, and the present participle of the verb. So he has been traveling since May. She has not been sleeping well recently. Then how do we form questions with present perfect continuous? Let's take a look. Usually, in yes or no questions, the subject and the have or has will change places. Example: have you been living here? Yes, I have. Or no, I have not, or I haven't. Has she been traveling since May? Yes, she has. Or no, she hasn't, or she has not. How about other question words? Let's take a look. We ask questions with question words in present perfect continuous tense, like this. How long have you been living? 4 years, or for some years. What have they been doing lately? Nothing. Why hasn't she been sleeping well? Because she's been studying for exam every day. Now, one thing remember, present participle is the ing form of the verb. So, the ing form, the present participle ing form of the verb walk is walking, smile is smiling, listen is listening. So when we are talking about present participles, we are talking about the ing form. Last time, we finished about forming statements or question with present perfect continuous. Today, we're going to talk about what time and what situations we should apply present perfect continuous tense. Let's take a look. We will talk about reasons. One longer continuing past activities. Situation of repeating continuing activities. Recently finished activities. Longer past actions. And also some other hints that could use present perfect continuous. And also, what is the difference between using present perfect and present perfect continuous? What time should we use it? Alright, there are some situations that we could use present perfect continuous. The first one, let's take a look. Like other continuous tenses, people use the present perfect continuous to show that something started in the past and is continuing at the present time. And also people use present perfect continuous to talk about some actions, the following actions. Number one longer continuing past activity. Past activity began at a point in the past and still continuing. Example: we have been shopping for 4 hours already. The action shopping is still ongoing. I have been studying English for 10 years. And of course, at this moment of time, this process of studying is still keep on going. And another one, repeating continuing actions. For example, activities have been repeating over a period of time. Examples: I have been going to Spain on holiday. I have been going to Spain on holiday every year since 1987. And this keep on repeating. I haven't been eating much lunch lately. Or I've been going to the gym at lunchtime. Eating and going to gym. Keep repeating again and again. That is another situation that we could apply present perfect continuous. Activity that finished not long ago. Let's take a look. Recent finished activity. People could also use present perfect continuous to talk about a finished activity in the recent past. Use present perfect continuous aims to focus on the activity. Activity itself is more important. So, I've just been cleaning the car. The car is wet and clean. It's been snowing. The ground is covered in snow. what have you been buying? And also, longer past action could also consider to use present perfect continuous. Example, they have just finished, but we haven't reached out at the present time. Okay, so I have been shopping at Pak'nShop recently. All stuffs I bought are from Pak'nShops. I've been studying English every evening since last Monday. So now the lessons still keep on going. How about some other things that we have to be cautious while we are using present perfect continuous? Let's take a look. People often use the preposition since or for with present perfect continuous, as well as the ever, recently, and lately to show a repeated action started long ago. For example, I've been shopping at Pak'nShop recently. Or it's been raining a lot recently or lately. Now, there are some verbs that we could not apply, or it is not common to apply present perfect continuous. What are they? Let's take a look. The word started, stop, finish. These actions are not normally used with verbs because it refers to actions that are completed at a single point of time. So, it is impossible for using the word started like this. Has the concert been starting already? No. Instead, we use present perfect. Has the concert started already? And also, some verbs that related to mental process, we are not using present perfect continuous tense. Let's take a look. Verbs like know, like, understand, believe, we don't use in continuous form very often. And continuous form of these verbs of mental process are not recommended in correct way. They have been knowing each other for very long, so we won't write in this way. It's grammatically incorrect. Instead, we use present perfect. They haven't known each other for very long time. And also, we don't use continuous form with verbs of sentence like hear, smell, taste. Have you heard the news? Instead of have you been hearing the news? No. However, about the word hearing, we will use it with present perfect continuous in some very specific situation and meaning. Let's take a look. In speaking, people will sometimes hear these verbs used in the continuous form. So in speaking English, when I've been hearing some strange noises coming from outside, event that is ongoing or temporary. Then what time should we use present perfect? What time should we use present perfect continuous? We are going to talk about some clear guidelines that help you to understand which situation using which tenses. Let's take a look. We use the present perfect simple with action verbs to emphasize the complete of an event in the recent past, while we are using present perfect continuous to talk about ongoing events or activities that starting at a point in the past and still continue up till now. There's some situation while we are using these two different tenses, they will have different meanings. Let's take a look. I have written a politics essay, a complete activity. I've been writing a politics essay, an ongoing activity. I'm still writing it. I've thought about buying a laptop. Suggest that I'm not thinking anymore. I've been thinking about buying a new laptop for a while, but I haven't decided which ones to get. Focuses on the action of thinking over a period of time. But sometimes using these two tenses, their meaning will be identical. Let's take a look. Sometimes we can use either form and the meaning is the same. I've lived here for 20 years, or I've been living here for 20 years. Hope these help you to understand which situation we could use present perfect and which situation we could use present perfect continuous. Alright, That's all for this chapter, and that's all for today. Like this video and subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Goodbye.